Hey guys, this is Miss Kate, and I'm going to be recording your first flipped lesson. Now, normally a flipped lesson would be completed at home. We'll try to post these by Wednesday, and they will need to be viewed by the time you come into class on Tuesday. This week, we're going to do our flipped lesson in class so you can see how it works. So this week's flipped lesson is on prepositions and prepositional phrases. First off, we need you to know what a preposition is. Now, hopefully, this will look a little bit familiar. And most of your flipped lessons will be a review of things that maybe you've learned in the past, or it'll be the basics of the lesson that we're trying to learn. So, what is a preposition? A preposition is a word that relates a noun or a pronoun to some other word in a sentence. Prepositions are going to give more detail to your sentence. They're going to add more information. They usually tell you where or when. Now, there are a lot of prepositions out there. We don't expect you to memorize them all. You may have had teachers in the past that had you memorize a song or a poem, and you probably know a lot of the prepositions already. But instead of asking you to memorize all the prepositions there are, Miss Dameron and I want you to memorize 2 sentences and only 1 preposition. The first sentence we want you to memorize, and you should go ahead and write this down, is the mouse ran blank the box. Any word that fits in that blank is going to be considered a preposition, and it's probably going to tell you where. Go ahead and write where next to that sentence. It's going to give you information about location. The other sentence we want you to memorize is the mouse ran blank lunchtime. Now this sentence is going to give you information about when. So again, any word that fits in one of those blanks is going to be considered a preposition. Now here at the bottom we've given you a few examples. You don't need to write this down, but we've already highlighted the prepositions in the sentences for you. The reason we know those words are prepositions is because they fit into the blanks of the 2 sentences, or at least one of those sentences. So for example, in the first sentence, the towel on the rack was dirty. We know on is a preposition because it fits in the first blank. The mouse ran on the box. If it fits in one of those sentences, it's a preposition. So on is a preposition. Next sentence, come to the movies with me. The mouse ran to the box. That works. The mouse ran with the box. That works too. So both of those words are definitely prepositions. And the last sentence, Sarah danced in the streets. The mouse ran in the box. That fits. So it's a preposition. Now here's a really long list of prepositions. Let's just go through a couple of these and see if they work in any of our sentences. The mouse ran above the box. The mouse ran below the box. The mouse ran inside the box. The mouse ran past the box. The mouse ran near the box. All of those work. What about with the other sentence though? The mouse ran during lunchtime. The mouse ran before lunchtime. The mouse ran until lunchtime. All of those work. Now the one word that doesn't really work in either of those sentences that we need you to memorize is the word of. So go ahead and write of on your paper and put stars beside it. You don't need to write down any of these other prepositions. They all work in the 2 sentences we want you to memorize. Of is the only one that doesn't work, so write that one down. Okay, now we want you to number 1 through 5 on your paper. We want you to write down the prepositions that you see in each one of these sentences. So the way you're going to go about doing that is asking yourself, okay, which one of these words in these sentences is going to fit in the mouse ran blank the box or the mouse ran blank lunchtime? If you're not sure, just go through each word. The mouse ran the box. The mouse ran the lunchtime. Nope. The mouse ran recipe the box. The mouse ran recipe lunchtime. No. The required's a verb, so that one's not going to be it. The mouse ran several lunchtime. The mouse ran several the box. No. The mouse ran from the box. That one works. So for number 1, go ahead and write the word from. Okay, let's look at number 2. The mouse ran before the box. Yeah, that one works. So write down before for number 2. See if there's any more in that sentence though. The mouse ran to the box. That one kind of looks like a preposition. Did you catch this one? This is the one we want you to memorize. Of. It doesn't fit in our sentence. The mouse ran You're the box. No, the mouse ran in the box. That one works. So that sentence had 4 prepositions in it. Go ahead and do numbers 3, 4, and 5 on your own. If you're not ready to check your answers, you can pause this slideshow. We're going to keep going. Let's check your answers. We already did numbers 1 and 2 together. For number 3, you should have written down 4. The mouse ran for the box. Number 4, the mouse ran to the box. The mouse ran during lunchtime. And then, of course, here's the one you had to memorize in number 5, of. If you got all of those, way to go. Moving on. Now that you know what a preposition is, you're going to be able to find a prepositional phrase. A prepositional phrase always begins with a preposition. Don't forget that. So if you can find the preposition, you can find where the prepositional phrase begins. It's going to end with a noun or a pronoun. Look at this example that we've given you. Now I know we've already underlined the prepositional phrase for you, but let's kind of work backwards here. Dr. Chen has an almanac from Brazil. So first, what I would do is try to find the preposition. Well, I've seen this one before, so I know from, the mouse ran from the box, that's the preposition. This is where my prepositional phrase begins. You can either underline it or you can put a parenthesis like I'm doing. To figure out where the prepositional phrase ends, you have to ask yourself what or who. So you'll say the preposition, in this case it's from, and then I say what or who. From what or from who? Well, in this case, it's from Brazil. That one was a little bit easier because that's where the sentence ends. So I know that the prepositional phrase has to end there. Look at the next example. Dr. Chen has an almanac from the 19th century. The mouse ran from the box. I know that's my preposition, so I'm going to start there. Where does it end? From the? No, that doesn't make sense. From the 19th? Not quite. It's from the 19th century. So my prepositional phrase is going to end at century. Okay, let's practice that a little bit. Now, we've already found the prepositions in these sentences. These are the same sentences you saw earlier. So now what we want you to do is to finish that preposition with the phrase. So on number 1, you already wrote down from. But ask yourself, from what or who? In this case, it's from the cupboard. So you'll need to write for number 1, from the cupboard. Now number 2 has several. We know the first one has to start with our first preposition. Before what? Now some of you might be thinking, well, before the end. And others of you might be thinking, before the end of class. But keep in mind, there's another preposition that starts right here. You're not going to have 2 prepositions in one phrase. So that must mean our first phrase ends at before the end, and our second one ends at of class. Look at this one. In what or who? The basket. That's where it's going to end. This one's a little strange. To what or who? To put. Well, put is not a what and it's not a who. It's not even a noun. It's a verb. So this is actually not a prepositional phrase. It's something called an infinitive phrase. You don't need to worry about writing that down, but I do want you to know that sometimes when you see the word to, if there's a verb right after it, that makes it an infinitive, not a preposition. Okay, number 3. For what or who? For class. You go ahead and do numbers 4 and 5 on your own. If you need a little more time, you can pause. Let's check your answers for numbers 4 and 5. On number 4, you should have started with to what or who? To Pierce. Your next one was during. During what or who? During a group activity. And the last one, of what or of who? Of you. Okay, here's what you need to complete before you come to class the next day. In our case, you're just completing it in class today. So write the following 2 sentences, circle the preposition, and underline the prepositional phrase. If you'd rather put parentheses around the prepositional phrase, you're welcome to do that. And we'll expect you each week to bring this information with you to the next class. So again, you'll write these 2 sentences at the bottom, circle the preposition, and underline the prepositional phrase. Let me show you what I mean with this last sentence of your instructions. You do not need to write this one down. So you would read this sentence, I will check these in class. Think about of. I don't see of in here, so that's not a preposition I need to worry about. Think about the mouse ran blank the box, the mouse ran blank lunchtime. Well, in this case, the mouse ran in the box. Makes sense. So I'm going to circle in, and I'm going to underline in what? In class. If you don't want to underline, you can put parentheses. In class. Okay? Do those to the 2 sentences at the bottom. You may need to pause this so that you can record these last 2 sentences, and we will check these in class. Thanks for watching your first flipped lesson.